In a week marked by geopolitical tensions and military escalations, the world watches as conflicts unfold and diplomatic efforts are made. From intensified strikes in Ukraine to warnings from the UN about the Persian Gulf, the stakes have never been higher. Here are today's top 10 stories you need to know. In a troubling trend, more Americans are increasingly turning to food pantries for assistance. Economic pressures and rising costs of living have made it difficult for many families to afford basic necessities. Reports indicate that food pantry usage has surged in urban and rural areas alike. Organizations are struggling to meet the growing demand, highlighting the urgent need for support and resources. Many food banks are launching campaigns to raise awareness and encourage donations. As the situation unfolds, community members are urged to contribute where possible. The reliance on food pantries underscores the broader economic challenges facing the nation. As more individuals seek help, the question remains, how will communities adapt to this growing need? Health officials have reported a rise in hantavirus cases in the United States, raising alarm among communities. The hantavirus is transmitted through contact with infected rodents, posing serious health risks. Public health agencies are urging citizens to take precautions, especially those living in rural areas. Educational campaigns have been launched to inform the public about the symptoms and prevention methods. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is closely monitoring the situation, collaborating with local health departments to track the outbreak. As cases continue to emerge, officials are emphasizing the importance of cleaning and maintaining safe living environments. The public is advised to stay vigilant and report any unusual rodent activity to health authorities. As the situation develops, further updates will be provided to ensure community safety. As the world anticipates a potential summit between U.S. President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping, Chinese Americans express a mix of hope and concern. Many view this meeting as a crucial opportunity to address ongoing trade tensions and geopolitical issues that have strained relations for years. Community leaders are advocating for dialogue, emphasizing the importance of cooperation between the two nations to foster economic growth and stability. However, skepticism remains about the outcomes of such discussions, particularly given the complex history of U.S.-China relations marked by tariffs and accusations of unfair practices. The stakes are high as both leaders must navigate domestic pressures, including economic concerns and political opposition. The impact of this summit could reshape global trade dynamics and influence international alliances. If successful, it may pave the way for a more collaborative future, but failure could exacerbate existing tensions. With this in mind, all eyes are on the negotiations to see if meaningful progress can be achieved. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine is beginning to have significant economic ramifications that extend beyond its borders. This war, which began in February 2022, has not only devastated Ukraine, but has also disrupted global supply chains. Energy prices have surged as markets react to the instability caused by military engagements, with Brent crude oil prices reaching multi-year highs. European nations are particularly vulnerable, facing challenges in securing energy supplies due to their reliance on Russian gas. As countries scramble to find alternatives, including renewables and liquefied natural gas, the potential for energy shortages looms large. Economists warn that these disruptions could lead to slower growth rates across Europe and beyond, potentially triggering a recession. Businesses are bracing for the impact, with many reevaluating their strategies in light of rising costs and inflationary pressures. As the situation develops, the global economy may face even greater challenges, especially in the winter months. Policymakers must act decisively to mitigate these effects and stabilize them. The conflict in Ukraine has escalated dramatically as Russian military operations intensify across multiple regions. Reports confirm that Russian troops are launching large-scale offensives, leading to widespread destruction of infrastructure and civilian casualties. In response, Ukrainian officials are urgently appealing to international allies for immediate military assistance, highlighting the dire need for advanced weaponry and support. The humanitarian crisis is worsening, with thousands of civilians displaced and seeking refuge in increasingly overcrowded shelters. As fighting escalates, the international community faces mounting pressure to act decisively. NATO allies are engaged in discussions about increasing military aid to Ukraine, aiming to strengthen its defense capabilities and deter further aggression. The ramifications of this conflict extend beyond Ukraine, as energy markets fluctuate and regional stability hangs in the balance. Experts warn that continued escalation could lead to a broader conflict involving multiple nations. In the coming weeks, the focus will be on whether diplomatic efforts can avert an even greater crisis. Ukrainian forces have successfully targeted another Russian refinery, igniting a fire that has produced significant smoke visible from miles away. This strike is part of Ukraine's ongoing strategy to undermine Russia's oil supply capabilities, which are critical for sustaining the Russian military's operations. President Zelensky has confirmed the operation, emphasizing that such actions are vital for Ukraine's defense against ongoing aggression. This attack has drawn international attention, with various nations expressing solidarity with Ukraine's right to defend itself. Analysts predict that these operations could provoke a harsh retaliation from Russia, potentially escalating military confrontations across the region. The global community is closely monitoring the repercussions of this strike, especially concerning energy supplies and market stability in Europe. As both sides prepare for further engagements, the conflict's dynamics could shift dramatically, affecting not only military strategies but also international diplomatic relations. With winter approaching and energy demands rising, the stakes are higher than ever, raising concerns about the broader implications for global energy security and regional stability. In a surprising development, reports indicate that the U.S. is moving toward indicting Raúl Castro, the former leader of Cuba. This decision arises amid escalating tensions between the U.S. and Cuba, primarily over ongoing human rights violations and political repression in the island nation. Since the Obama administration's attempts at normalization in relations, diplomatic ties have been fraught with challenges, and this potential indictment could further exacerbate these issues. Critics warn that such legal actions might derail any hopes for future diplomatic progress, as they could provoke a backlash from the Cuban government and its allies. On the other hand, supporters argue that accountability is essential for human rights advancement in Cuba, asserting that the Castro regime must face consequences for its actions. As both nations brace for the fallout, diplomatic channels are likely to encounter significant obstacles, complicating any future negotiations. The outcome of this situation could redefine the U.S.-Cuba relationship, making it crucial for both sides to navigate these turbulent waters carefully in the coming months. In light of increasing military threats from China, Taiwan has heightened its defense measures significantly. Recent statements from Chinese officials, including military exercises near Taiwan, have alarmed the Taiwanese government, prompting a thorough reassessment of its military readiness. This escalation is rooted in China's long-standing claim over Taiwan, which it views as a breakaway province. In response, Taiwan is bolstering its defenses by investing in advanced weaponry and seeking closer ties with the United States for military support, including potential arms sales. Analysts believe that this situation could lead to a significant shift in regional security dynamics, challenging the status quo in the Asia-Pacific. Taiwan's leadership has urged its citizens to remain calm while emphasizing the importance of national defense and resilience. International responses have varied, with some nations, particularly in the West, expressing solidarity with Taiwan against Chinese aggression. The potential for conflict remains a pressing concern as Taiwan navigates its response to these threats. As tensions escalate, Taiwan's future stability hinges on its ability to strengthen alliances and deter potential aggression from China in the coming months. The United Nations has issued a stark warning regarding escalating tensions in the Persian Gulf. Recent military buildups and hostile rhetoric among regional powers have raised concerns about a potential conflict that could destabilize the entire region. The UN Secretary-General has called for immediate de-escalation and dialogue to prevent a humanitarian crisis. This warning comes in light of increased naval activity and military exercises in the region, particularly involving Iran and its neighbors. The Gulf is a critical area for energy transportation, with approximately 20% of the world's oil supply passing through its waters. Analysts suggest that the situation could have far-reaching implications for global oil prices and international shipping routes, potentially leading to economic repercussions far beyond the region. The UN is urging all parties involved to prioritize diplomacy over aggression to avert disaster. In response to the rising tensions, several countries, including the United States and various Gulf nations, have begun coordinating efforts to enhance maritime security and deter potential threats. As international stakeholders engage in talks, the outlook remains precarious, with the potential for miscommunication or miscalculation looming large. Moving forward, sustained diplomatic efforts will be essential to ensure stability and avoid conflict in this strategically vital area. In a significant escalation of the ongoing conflict, Russian forces have launched intense airstrikes across multiple regions of Ukraine. These attacks have primarily targeted military installations, supply depots, and vital infrastructure, leading to substantial damage. The Ukrainian government has reported increasing casualties, with many civilians forced to flee their homes amid the chaos. This latest wave of strikes comes as Ukraine has intensified its drone operations, specifically targeting Russian refineries as a countermeasure. President Volodymyr Zelensky has vowed to retaliate against these aggressive actions, emphasizing the critical need for international support and solidarity. The ongoing conflict has raised alarm across Europe, prompting NATO member states to convene discussions regarding further military assistance to Ukraine. Observers note that the situation carries the potential to spiral into a wider regional conflict if diplomatic efforts fail. The international community is closely monitoring these developments, as they may significantly influence upcoming negotiations aimed at resolving the crisis. The increasing violence and destruction underscore the urgency for a comprehensive response to restore peace. With winter approaching, the humanitarian implications are even more severe, as displaced civilians face harsh conditions. As tensions escalate, the coming weeks will be crucial in determining whether diplomatic channels can effectively de-escalate the violence or if further military confrontations loom on the horizon. Thank you for tuning in. Which of today's stories shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.